The women were nothing alike, yet their wounds spoke the same language. Something had been taken from each of them: dignity, safety, voice, identity. And every time, the cause was the same: power held by the wrong hands. Maha was a schoolteacher in a small town. When she spoke the truth, she was labeled difficult. Promotions disappeared, whispers followed her through hallways, and silence was suggested as the easiest solution. Sana worked in a corporate office where smiles were mistaken for permission and quiet endurance was called professionalism. When she resisted, she became invisible. When she complained, she became the problem. Zara gave everything to her marriage. When she finally gathered the courage to speak about what happened behind closed doors, her family told her to be patient, to protect the home, to endure. Love, they said, required sacrifice. They never said how much blood it cost. And then there was Sarah. She wrote. She documented what others were too afraid to name. Her article was praised privately and buried publicly. Her byline vanished. The truth survived, but without her name attached to it. Time moved on, as it always does. The men responsible climbed higher. Titles changed. Cities changed, faces aged. But the harm remained, quietly alive inside the women who carried it. They did not scream. They did not confront. They did not rush. They waited. Years later, chance placed them in the same spaces, at conferences, in corridors, through mutual acquaintances. No long introductions were needed. Recognition lived in their eyes. A shared understanding that required no explanation. They began meeting without purpose at first. Coffee. Long silences. Stories told without interruption. Pain acknowledged without advice. Then, slowly, truth began to gather. Old emails resurfaced. Dates aligned. Patterns emerged. What had once felt like isolated suffering revealed itself as repetition. A design. Sarah wrote again, carefully this time. No accusations screamed from the page. Only facts. Verified records. Voices layered together until they could no longer be dismissed as coincidence. Maha submitted formal letters to institutions that had once ignored her, calm and precise. Sana let questions circulate, never pointing fingers, never forcing conclusions. Zara walked into a courtroom without tears, armed only with consistency. They never stood at the center of the storm. They let the truth do that. Careers collapsed under scrutiny. Invitations stopped arriving. Allies withdrew. Men who once spoke without fear found themselves explaining, then apologizing, then disappearing. There were no public celebrations. The women met one last time in a quiet cafe. Their tea went cold as they talked about new beginnings instead of old wounds. Laughter came carefully at first, like something fragile learning to exist again. Sarah finally said what they were all thinking: we didn't destroy anyone. We just stopped carrying their silence. They walked away separately, lighter than they had been in years, not because someone else fell, but because they had finally stood upright. Like, subscribe and bell icon click.